All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shati from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this video you're going to see here is this Edomite woman, at least on the surface. I can say she seems to be an Edomite. You know, these things are usually examined and weighed out through the spirit if somebody truly is an Edomite. But nonetheless, just on the physical appearance, all right, this Edomite woman is going to explain to you some more legislation that old DJ Trump is rolling out. So we're going to let her speak and we'll get some scripture.
It's time to speak up. They're rolling back segregation. They are rolling back segregation. It is now no longer illegal to require separate facilities for people of different races. It is no longer illegal to say, here's the white water fountain and here's the colored water fountain. To be clear, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is still in place and has not been disbanded. But we know what their goal is. There is always step one in a process, and we absolutely know what their goal is. They are rolling back segregation. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because this time, white people, we are the ones that are going to be on the front crossing that bridge. Do you hear me? We are the ones that are going to stand in the streets. Our black countrymen have done their time at the front of the lines, and it is our turn. It is our turn to face the water hoses and to face the dogs and to face the tear gas because we have let this happen. Not on my watch. Not while there is breath in me will we go back. Is anybody out there with me? Go love your neighbor.
As you can see, this woman is very distraught on the fact that a man that's of her same nation is deliberately and intentionally, with much haste, putting in to act things that are what she feels is going to set society back. Okay, and I've seen a lot of videos with Edomites expressing a similar sentiment. And this just goes to show you how divided the nation of Edom is. And that's in somewhere in Matthew 12. Is it 21? I could be wrong. No, 25. Matthew 12 and 25. And it says, and Yahushai knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And this is what you have right now. You have a nation that is completely divided amongst itself, especially when it comes to the new commander-in-chief, Donald Trump. Because you have a lot of Edomites who are not down with his program. They know that everything he's doing is being done to incite chaos and emotions to get people to react and do certain things. All right, but this is all prophecy. Isaiah 19 and 2. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother. And right now you have a huge ideological and spiritual divide amongst the nation of Edom. All right, you got folks that are like, hey, we are not for this DEI, we're not for this segregation. Okay, we're not for all this racial, like we're not down with that shit. And then you got folks that are. You got your MAGA folks. They're like, yes, Trump, do what you can. We know we're going to take some lumps, but as long as it hurts them more than us, we're okay. And you got Edomites who are like, no, this is not okay. Like she said, when the culmination of these presidential orders and actions come into play, it's like the lady said, hey, this is going to affect us more. We're going to have to be out there protesting. Like it says here, I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor. She said, go love your neighbor. That's not going to happen. As divided as your nation is, that's not going to happen. It says city against city and kingdom against kingdom. And it's funny because when you read a lot of comments and a few videos on this, especially from Jake's, they're like, well, okay, I don't see how this is going to hurt us, but in the grand scheme of things, we're okay with it. And that's the mentality of a lot of Jakes. Because you do have certain Jakes that realize what we did before integration and segregation and DEI and all this other stuff. There are still Jakes that know that we had Black Wall Street. We had well, is it Elaine, Arkansas? Here in Chicago, Bronzeville. You know, you have a lot of Jakes that understand that when Jake was left alone to themselves, to have to do for themselves and establish a town with order, with laws, with businesses, with infrastructure, so the city and people could thrive. We was doing it big. We was doing it better than Esau in his own kingdom. But of course, Esau, being the damn trickster that he is, he was like, we can't have this. So they destroyed them all and said, you know what? You can come into our establishments. You can do all of these great things. And we all know he didn't do that just because it was out the kindness of his heart. No. It was so Jake would stop doing things for themselves, and so Jake would not and so Jake would start becoming dependent on bad Uncle Esau. Instead of making them self-sufficient, he knew that in doing this integration, that Jake would then become dependent on bad Uncle Esau. And this is what we have today. Because you read that in the curses in Deuteronomy, it'll tell you that. He shall lend to thee and yep, Deuteronomy 28 and 43. It says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. All right? And this could not come to pass if Esau would have just left us alone to do what we would normally do amongst ourselves. And now, since we're in the end of this thing, Trump is just like, you know what? We're going to reverse all of this stuff. We need segregation back. We need things where it's just strictly Edomites and then all other nations. And I've seen a few TikToks with some so-called Latino people. I say so-called because they're not Latino. Okay, they're of the Northern Kingdom, according to their prospective tribes as the sons of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. All right, you even have a lot of Latinos who are so-called Latinos. They're just like, yeah, I'm kind of cool with that, but you know what this means? We don't want you coming to Mexico. We don't want you coming to Colombia. Don't come in our stores. Don't come in our restaurants. They're like, we don't want none of that. You stay where you are. We stay where we are. And all this stuff is just going to boil to a point where folks are just going to have enough. All this oppression well, let me just get that. Because that's all this is. It's oppressive draconian rule. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad. I think that's in Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. All this all this oppression is driving people crazy. Okay, they can't believe that somebody would be so blatant and so forward in making rules that's destroying relations that it's going to bring about a disastrous a result. But as I said in a previous sit down, okay, many of you people, many of you jakes out there can't necessarily look at this as in a bad way. Because you have to remember, in the beginning, the Lord designed it that exact same way for a reason. Okay, let me see if I can get that for you. Okay, this is Deuteronomy 32:8. It says, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. Okay, so even in the beginning, the Lord saw fit to divide the nations. Now, it's not saying that you can't travel and go through their nation, but the Lord gave every single nation their number of people with their land inheritance for them to do what they needed to do. It is nothing different from today. The Lord's just making it so that he's using DJ Trump to establish this, okay? Because all segregation is going to do is just force the nations to cleave more into their own. Hold on, I think somebody's trying to call me. Hold on one moment. Sorry about that. I thought somebody was trying to call me. But nonetheless, here's something that backs that up. Ecclesiasticus is sometimes referred to as Sirach 13 and 15. It says, every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. What fellowship have the wolf with the lamb, so the sinner with the godly? And it goes on, but that's the point. Let me read that again. Ecclesiasticus 13 and 16. it says, all flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his light. Meaning these people will cling to their own. And Donald Trump has just put it in actions that are forcing the nations to do that. So, as I said earlier, you know, you can't look at all these things as bad things, because you have to remember the Lord created us to be a holy and separate people unto himself. Okay, we can't be holy and separate if we want to continue to just be like the heathen. Because unfortunately, that's what's happened with Jake. They've been around the heathen so long and seeing what they do that now a lot of them have just become that way. But the Lord is starting to make that separation. And it's not for our detriment, but it's for our benefit. And you Jakes need to wake up and see that. The ones of you that think that this is a bad thing. Because all this is the will of the Lord. And let me see. Let me get this and I can probably end on it. Isaiah 55:11. It says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. So these as I mentioned earlier, these actions that the commander in chief is taking right now, it's all the will of the Lord. It's all these things from DEI to segregation to taking people like veterans out of the history of the army, this whole shaving policy, all this stuff, the Lord's putting into effect so Jake can just start getting back with the Lord and away from the heathen. That's really it. So that's all I want to say on this. I hope you all were edified. Till the next time, we're going to say Shalom.